Happy Spiritual Sunday. Yes. Okay. Happy Spiritual Sunday for all the views out there. Okay. All right, so let's start with our affirmation. As we do every week, we want to keep growing our consciousness more and more in the light. So we say it together. Consciousness is everything. I raise my consciousness today to see the miracles and wonders of life. I commit myself to behave with greater love, compassion, and kindness towards all human beings. You and I are going to be the leaders. We're setting the pattern for all those 8 billion people out there that they will understand the same thing. We decide what the world does because we keep talking about here on Sundays that we are one soul. We're on a spiritual internet that nobody can disconnect from, nor can they firewall us. Maybe there's another term. You can't be blocked. A person can resist. As my teachers, the Rav and Karen always called it, people can hug their chaos. But like anything else, they can only hug it for so long. If the universe is pulling their arms open, let's say, to release their chaos, who's going to win in the battle? The light of the Creator or a human being? Light of the Creator. So what you and I are learning here is how to just give in from the beginning. If we already know that we are given 100% fulfillment, we have the light inside us of 100% fulfillment, it's our work to let it shine out. Like anything else, you have a great idea. If you don't manifest it, what good is the idea? Here's one. When you wake up in the morning, and let's say, just to make it simple, showing up for work is the way you get paid. If you don't show up, you don't get paid. So you wake up in the morning, you say, yes, I have the talent, the ability, I want to go, I have the capability, the car works, everything like that, but a person doesn't go now to work. Do they get the reward of being paid? No. So the same with the light of the Creator inside of us. Because we're filled with it, doesn't mean our life is right now going to be wonderful and eternally blissed out. We know that the Creator gave us the power and the ability to be eternally blissed out, and that's ultimately our mission in this world, is to manifest all our light and have 100% bliss. But it's our free will. So what we want to talk about this week, since we won't be here next week live, and it is the opening this evening for what the Kabbalists say are 8 days of miracles. So I wanted to sort of reawaken for those of you who may be familiar, hopefully in a new way, and those of you who are less familiar, the whole concept of miracles. Because what do we usually understand? Miracles are extraordinary events. There's something beyond nature. I was reading from one of the Kabbalistic writings. They were saying, essentially, what people think are miracles, anything that goes beyond what science will tell us are inviolable laws. That you cannot change the laws of science, and therefore anything that does look like it's beyond that has to be a miracle. Okay, so then what do we usually think? Wow, who could create a miracle? We can only imagine the most righteous people creating miracles. But you and I, what can we do? We're just regular people. So we want to start changing that whole concept. Because if you look back, historically, regular human beings, so to speak, as opposed to the people we usually define as the righteous and the ultimate sages, created also miracles. Even we'll look just at the simple idea of beyond science. So some of you may remember, maybe not in this lifetime, a last lifetime, that at one point last century, scientists said the molecule was absolutely the smallest particle of matter. And then what happened? Then suddenly they had some new discovery and it became the atom. And then what happened? Then it became the proton, neutron, electron. And they started breaking it down. So what at one moment, science says this is it and this is the way it is and this is all how everything works. Next thing you know, they're discovering something else and now they've just changed their mind. So I would like us already to open our heart to the idea of creating, becoming miracle makers. That's what we want to be. But we have a few things we need to understand. So just quickly the science, just to remind you. Think of your great-great-great-grandparents. If you showed them a cell phone, or let's say tried to describe it, miracle, right? It would never happen. What about a flying machine, an airplane? You go back, whatever, a century or two, or let's say 2 or 3, airplanes also. Nothing heavier than air can float, things like that, or can fly. We have all these different constructs that you and I are the beneficiaries of, science uncovering the laws that have existed for 14.5 billion years in order to put together the airplane, the cell phone, the computer, the things that we think are modern technology. I mean, imagine some of us in the room, we grew up, and even just a journey to the moon was science fiction, fantasy, impossible. Now it's science fact. So imagine that you and I could time travel and we take our cell phones back to, let's say, the 1800s. And you and I walking around with cell phones, right? 5, 10, 20, 50 of us to the thousands of people walking around. What would they say? Wow, these must be sages. These must be magicians. These must be, some kind of whatever, hopefully in a good way, right? Great sages and righteous people, because look what they're doing. They're able to communicate invisibly with people who are invisible all over, right? Imagine they hear the voice coming out, right? You put your phone on speaker so they're hearing a voice out of this little plastic box. They're talking to angels. They've got to be righteous. But you and I don't know about some of you, but I remember the first cell phone I had. It was miraculous for me. Now, whatever it is, 20 some odd years later, is the cell phone to you miraculous, really? Take it for granted, right? Because why? Everybody's got it. Everybody has a cell phone. A lot of people get on airplanes. A few people been to the moon. We send spaceships out into space, all these different things. So we don't consider it miraculous. But at one point along the way, they were miraculous. They were miracles. So this is what I want us to start understanding. Where do miracles come from? Because once we can understand the technology of them, we can start, as we want to call ourselves, become miracle makers. Because that's what the Kabbalists say we should be, miracle makers. And we've already done it. We just take it for granted. But I want to start with this because most people may not think of it in the same way. And that's why I started out with a little bit of like the scientific miracles, let's call it. Because according to the Kabbalists, miracles, what people think is beyond nature, one, they already exist, but two, they can only come out of darkness. And I don't mean bad, but like dark, like when you walk out at night and it's dark, that kind of darkness, spiritual darkness. You remember the phrase, necessity is the mother of invention. What does a necessity mean? When people are lacking, when people are desperate for something, a solution, an answer, clarity, what have you, then can come the ability to receive inspiration and guidance how to create a miracle. Just like we said, the cell phone. Somebody came along, or some group of people came along out of the lack of a cell phone, but somehow an awakening of a desire to have a cell phone. Something that, what a cell phone is, you can walk around anywhere on earth and talk to anybody else on earth. Out of that desperation, out of that craving, but out of that lack of having cell phones, what did they do? They opened their mind. And like so many people, imagine the Wright brothers, right? When they first thought of an airplane, and they went around to their friends and said, we're going to create an airplane. We're going to create an airplane. What do you think most people probably told them? What, are you nuts? You're crazy. It can't be. Only birds can fly. But did they give up? No, that's the first step. They didn't give up. The vision they had, because their open-mindedness, they just persevered till they made one manifest. So when you and I also, when we say desperation, what does desperation lead to? Yeah, it means we have a lack. But what does desperation often lead to? Surrender. I don't know. I can't do anything anymore. I've tried everything, right? I'm at my wit's end of the rope. And what does that mean really for you and I as Kabbalah Center students? It means the person has come to the point where they no longer, even in subtle ways, are depending on their brain, their ideas, their power, their resource, their capability, like the human aspect, if you will, and they're willing to say, like some people will, God, I need help. But they've surrendered, they've opened up, they've let go. And then, as we call it, they created a vessel. They created an empty space in their consciousness, in their heart, to allow the light that exists everywhere to be manifest, to inspire them. This is why sometimes you'll hear, if you go back and study, we used to have a class on this. Many of the great songwriters said, even the ones back in the 1700s, as well as the one in the 1900s and 2000s, they just opened their mind. The song just came to them, dropped in their head. Some of the great musicians of the 1700s, they would say, they would just have, the symphony would appear in front of them, and all they did was write down the notes. So it was already there, but they had to be open-minded. People who come up with these great movies, science fiction, that go beyond things we could think about. Where do they get it from? In fact, I don't want to use the name because I don't know how that works anymore in these algorithms, but there was a very famous series of movies based on a series of books that the woman who wrote it, you know the story, she was desperate. She was living in other people's houses and this, that, and the other thing. And then like when she would sleep, all of a sudden she would have the whole, almost like a dream of all the story. And then she'd write it down and she's made almost $1 billion, maybe more than $1 billion on this. But it came when there was an opening, when there was a surrender, when what we've called building a vessel, opening a vessel, a space where the light could be revealed. So that's why we say it comes out of the darkness. Because in the dark, if you're looking for something in the dark, is it because the thing is not there and that's why you're looking? Or you know it's there, but you just can't see it because of the dark? Right? You know it's there, you put it there, but in the dark you can't quite find exactly where it is, but you know it's on the table somewhere. So you turn on the light. When you turn on the light, did the light bulb create that item on the table? No, it just revealed what was there all the time. So this is why we constantly are reminding ourselves here, the light is how big? The light of the Creator in this universe. How big? 20%, 30%, 50%? It's infinite. So where is there not light? So then every solution, every answer, every great invention, everything we would call a miracle already exists. But it's in that space we can't see with our eyes. We can't see with our 5 senses. Because why? We're not open to it. How many people, even in this simple way, creating that vessel is called Kabbalistically a desire. So we all have desires. But how many people do you know, maybe in your lifetime, that you've had tell you along the way, maybe when you're first starting out in your career, whatever, yes, they want to be president of this business, or they want to make, chain of stores and all of this. But now you watch them, so they sound like, yes, I really want. How do you know if a person really wants? Meaning they really have a vessel. So if the guy tells you or the woman tells you they got an idea for a chain of stores and they can already envision it. It's 5 stores and it's going to be busy and everyone make a lot of money and serve a lot of people and all of this. But all you see them for the next 6 months, year, 2 years, they're just sitting at home. They're going to their little job. They come back. They go to their job. And I'm not being disrespectful of the job, but what I'm trying to show you is, do they really have a desire? Do they really have a craving for that 5-store chain? No. How do you know? Because they're not doing any action. So they can talk with their mouth, but if they're not doing the action, they don't have a real desire. And this is why, on the sad part, there are people that I've met over the years in the center who, when they were in the hospital, having their stomach pumped or this kind of thing, suddenly then out of that, truly hitting the bottom, now came the desire to overcome their addiction. I had one young man, he was about 25 years old, that I met in LA, probably in the late 90s, who told me his parents had spent, at that point, almost $300,000 sending him to different rehab places. And it never worked. But when I met him, he was now clean. And he said, what made him now clean? He said, the parents sent him. He didn't have the desire. He didn't want to be clean. But he said the moment he really had that craving, because in his case, he did hit bottom. And it was painful enough. He said, that's it. He wants to be clean. Then he said he didn't need rehab. His desire was enough. It was that strong. He was not going to touch the substance that he was addicted to, period. So it's the same with you and I. And this is why we're saying miracles, those transcendent, extraordinary events, only come out of that type of darkness, where there's an emptiness and there's a craving. So it doesn't have to be, but it can be that the vision is so strong, the image inside so powerful, you don't want to do anything but make it happen. Because the vision is so clear, it's so bright, it's so, what's the word? Empowering. You just feel there's nothing else you want but that. At that moment, you're going to pick up and do, bless you, every action you need to do in that direction, towards making that happen. That's what you and I would like us to start waking now. The Rav and Karen used to tell us, we don't need to hit bottom to have that kind of desperate desire. What they were teaching us is right now, and you could be at the peak of your life so far, come from nothing, and now you got everything. Still, doesn't matter where you are, decide right now that in essence, in your mind, you are at the end of the rope. In your mind, the lack you feel, even if everybody else would say, it's only a little big, what's a big deal? You already have all the material stuff and this and this. Make what your sense of lack is as if it's the most painful thing in your life, that you're desperate to keep moving up. And this way you will do the actions, not only to truly maintain the good that you have now, but also make it grow. But unfortunately, some people, they have to get to that point. And we've seen it. Look what happened these last 3-4 years with all the tumult in the world. There are people who just fell into the mud, and there's people who woke up and say, no, because there was so much awakening, people lost their job. I know one person in particular, I think I've talked about him before, lost their job. At first, a little stressful. And then, because a good Kabbalah student said, no, there's got to be good come out of this. And started to scan Zohar, started to open up, meditate. They never would have thought of. They put it into work. It's some online type business, making 4 or 5 times more money now than they ever did in any job they had before. What made the change? That, quote, desperate feeling, but not in a reactive, negative way. They were able to, where they were, okay, let's see how we can move up. That's what I would like us to think now. Feel this is the end of the rope. How can I move up? How can I keep going? Doesn't have to be bad. Why would I want it to be bad? Doesn't have to. So let's go from there. So once you surrender, think, I guarantee you, if you look back on your life, there has to be a time somewhere where you found yourself in troubled situation, right? Your mind going, and you just, for whatever reason, surrender like that. Whatever it was. Maybe you just laid in bed and said, God, I give up, whatever you want, that sort of thing. And then suddenly, boom, came the idea, came the thought, came the inspiration. Why? You got your ego out of the way. You got your, this is mine, I'm the smart one, I built this, I made this, I did all this. No, if you really had done it, how did it disappear? The Rav used to say, again, I don't know if I should say the name, but there was a huge, back in the 70s, 80s, huge computer corporation. Oh, I know. Hundreds of billions of dollars, whatever it was, and all of a sudden, kaboom, in like 2 days, like whatever it was, 80, 90% of their wealth, boom. And the Rav would say, really? In classes, the Rav would say, do you think suddenly overnight, all these people just turn stupid? I mean, here's computer people building computers, this, that, and other thing. And overnight, they just like, their mind went blank. No, of course not. But what the universe is showing us when we'll open our eyes to see, you and I are not in control from the physical, material point of view. We think, because that parasite called the opponent in our head will tell, oh, look, you built the business. You did well in school. You made all this happen. You're the one. Look how you built your body and you built your health and you built this, that, and the other thing. No. How do we know? I like to go, and some of you know me, the simplest way to understand we're not in control, besides those things, if we're in control, how do things get out of control? How do things happen out of our control? But even you go one step further. Why does a person die? One day they're healthy, right? The doctors say, look at all the blood tests, look at this, healthy as a horse. And the next day, boom, fall over with a heart attack. We know because the soul leaves. The energy of the creator leaves. And when the energy of the light leaves the body can no longer function. Like the old days, you take the battery out of the flashlight or out of the radio, doesn't work. But it could be the most expensive radio on earth, but without the energy source, doesn't work. So let's already acknowledge it. The light inside of us is the power of creating miracles. The light inside of us is what gives us our very life, breath, ideas, thoughts, capabilities. Now we can move from there to be a miracle maker. So let's look at it this way. So there's two choices. What is free choice in our world? Let's just make it very simple. Free choice in our world is we have the ability to choose whether we will be focused on the physical, material things as the source of our fulfillment and our happiness. The source, meaning the money, when the person gets the money, they'll be happy because money is the source. When they find a relationship, the person is the source and therefore they will be happy. When they get something in the physical material world, that will make them happy. That's the choice. That will make them happy, whatever it may be in the physical. When they get that car, when they buy that house, their dream house. So then, okay, in true Kabbalistic terms, and we know it a little bit more these days, that's what's called idol worship. When a person thinks their car is the source of their happiness, then their car is their God. When a person thinks that another person in a relationship is the source of their happiness and this, that, and other thing, then that person is their God. When they think the promotion, whatever you pick, when the physicality becomes the source in somebody's mind, that's idol worship. You and I in the Kabbalah Center, from Kabbalah 1, we learn everything in the physical material world is only meant to be and used as a conduit, a channel. You go to water your lawn. Is the hose the source of the water? Or is the hose just the vehicle that channels the water to the grass? Do you have a question? It's the channel. It's a conduit. That's why you go, it's a hose. So everything in the physical material world is a pipeline from the upper world into this world. So it's the light is the power. The light is the source of true fulfillment, happiness, prosperity, good relationships, etc. So what we learn is, how do you use those pipes? How do you use the people in your life and the people in the world and the car and the house and the money and the shopping and the vacation and everything as a means to channel your light, channel it out of your soul through those people, places, and things so that it goes up metaphorically to the upper world and brings you back greater blessings, awareness, clarity, etc. That's the idea. So you can choose. The physicality is the source of fulfillment, or the light is the source of fulfillment, and you're going to use the physical world as a means. That's our only free choice. That's what it boils down to. We can call it proactive and reactive, whatever other terms you've heard or learned in the center, it boils down to that. Where's your source of fulfillment? Light, the endless light that's all around, or something in the physical material world? That's it. And that's our choice. And there's a consequence to both. If a person thinks the money is the source of their fulfillment, when they get the money, how do they feel? Oh, at first they feel amazing. Then They lose either the blessing of the money because now it's like, that's not enough, or I didn't get this or that or the other thing, or, like we said, it goes away. Now, when the money goes away, what happens to their happiness? It went with the money. What happens when the person leaves them in the relationship? Their happiness and their love and their kindness and passion, everything went with the person. You know, say, no, if the light is your source, then even when the things go away, you still have the light. And because the light is the creator of things, things will be recreated. New relationship, new job, new money, new friends, new protection, new health, healing, whatever it is that we need will be manifest through the light. So now, what are we going to do with our miracle making? Because I want to make sure you become miracle makers. Of course, I can't force you. So if you really don't want miracles, that's up to you, right? Same old, same old. So I just was listening to something very interesting, and I want to put it in right here up front. The purpose of what I'm about to share with you, how we can make our own miracles, is not just for our miracles. I was listening to a class by Michael Berg, and he was reading from one of the great Kabbalists from a couple hundred years ago. He says, no, the reason that we want to manifest miracles is not just that we'll have those miracles, and not just so we can say, look, I am a miracle maker, but really it's to help other people have certainty and trust in the light of the Creator that it can do miracles. It can manifest for them also, to give people a greater connection to the light in their soul and all around them. Like by example, if we only thought, the great sages were the only ones who could create miracles, of course, no wonder we, in certain ways, have made them gods. Wow, whoever it is, Moses, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, whoever, they're the ones who have to do it for me. No, that's also a form of idol worship. The light is the only source. They were a tremendous conduit, but they were also showing us how we can do the same thing. So imagine now, let's say we're 300 people here and watching online, and we all start to manifest miracles. Think of the people all around us. If there's 300 of us, it could be 3,000, 10,000, 50,000 people around us who now see us making miracles. And they know we're sort of regular people. That's going to awaken in them. Wow, if they can do it, I can do it. Now they'll start to do it. And then suddenly everybody's a miracle maker. And what's the world full of? Miracles. But what is the essence of a miracle? The infinite light of the Creator. So the brighter the light, the faster the darkness goes away. And when there's no more darkness, nobody will be depressed, nobody will be angry, nobody will be jealous, nobody will be stingy, nobody will be unforgiving, nobody will be blame and resentful and victimize, all of that. No, it won't happen. That can only exist in the darkness when people cover up the light. What we're talking about is uncovering the light. What's an invention? Discovery. Discovery. They discovered. What does it mean? Uncovered. Uncovered means it was already there. They just uncovered it and saw it was under the covers. They didn't make something new. The Creator already created everything. There's nothing more to create. There's only to uncover, make manifest, and benefit from. That's what you and I are learning. So let's see, how are we going to do that? So the first thing is, we know if you're standing in the darkness, there's going to be all those negative emotions. I used the example once with somebody. So imagine you're in a big, windowless auditorium, but there's two doors, one at each end of the room. And so there's a person standing on the side, and they know that the whole room is filled with obstacles. But it's pitch black, and they are forced, however you want to consider that they have to run quickly across the room and escape through the other door. Right? Now, while they're standing there looking at a dark room that they know there's obstacles, they could trip, they could fall, they could break something. It says, how do you think they're feeling there? You think they're happy and joyous? Let's even say they've got 10 seconds to get to the other side because there's whatever, $1 billion cash, or there's their soulmate, or whatever you want to call it. Right? They're stressed out. Yes, they want that goal, they want that reward, but they know they could fall, trip, hurt themselves, whatever. Stress, yes? Now, the moment you turn on the light in that same room with all the obstacles, now, what happens to the level of stress? It almost goes away completely, Because now, yes, they can run across, they can see there's still obstacles, they still have to face the obstacles, but they have clarity on how to run to avoid the obstacles and still get their reward. So this is one fundamental priority for those of you in the center, if you've been here more than 5 minutes. Why is the center so focused on spreading the Zohar all over the world? Because these books, even though they look like books, shine the endless light of the Creator. And just like that room, you walk into a room and the light goes on and you see things clearly and you get the inspiration and the guidance there. That's the beginning of a miracle. Because now whatever you need shows up in front of you. You have the vision, and then you can do the action to create that vessel, open up the space, do the actions of sharing that will fulfill that vessel with whatever you would consider a miracle. Health suddenly shows up, great relationships showed up, suddenly the nasty people in your life start to be friendly and apologize, things like that. All those kinds of things could happen. Protection from a car accident, a new job, all kinds of things. That's why the Zohar has been called the Book of Miracles, because it manifests so much light. So we say every week, have one, at least one in your pocket, one in your car, right? Get a sacred Zohar or the whole set, put it in your house. You can never have too much light, can never have too much clarity. But right now, a lot of people in the world say, oh, I'm okay, I'm okay, I'm okay. Well, do you remember whatever it was, depending on where you live, I guess, the December 19th or January of 2020, around that time, and all of a sudden the whole world locked down. How many of us would have thought of that before? Yes, could you imagine the world being locked down like that? No. So think now, whatever you're saying, oh yeah, I have a certain sense of security because I got money in the bank and I have this, that, and the other thing. Okay, I'm not telling you to get rid of that stuff, but again, it's not the source of security. Use it as a conduit. But using it as a conduit, as you and I learn, means how do you share, not how do you keep getting. Accumulate things and then you'll have certainty and trust. Not that way. So one, just carry the Zohar, start to scan. If you're in the center, scanning is your level. All right? Just having it is not enough for most of us because you already want more. So do some scanning and accentuate the light, enhance the light, empower, intensify the light. But here we go, making miracles. You ready? Okay, good. We got one answer here. Online, are you guys all ready? You want to know how to become a miracle maker? Oh, look, we got Puerto Rico. Yes, okay. London. Okay, so here, like we said, first, our generation, the Kabbalists have been writing for hundreds of years. In our generation, miracles should be the status quo. Like we said, if you and I, or as you and I do more people will come along, do the same thing. It will become the status quo. Like we said, and I don't want it to be taken for granted, but a cell phone. Right? We don't think it's a miracle. Wake up in the morning and even think the fact you woke up is already a miracle. The universe gave you your soul back and you can get up and do. You have another day. Even for people who have trouble in their life, difficult situations, at least wake up and realize, no, the universe is giving you another day to remove by transformation, darkness to light, chaos to order, the curses to blessings, lead to gold, trash to whatever. What's more than gold? Platinum. That's where we have an opportunity. So at least be happy. So here, we're going to have to step into the darkness. That's the key. The Creator gave us the power to create miracles. We just have to make it manifest. So here we go. How do you create a vessel? So I wrote down a few examples. If your usual way of acting, your usual way of feeling is jealous. Like you see, I don't mean 24/7. But when you look at yourself, you say, I can acknowledge I'm kind of a jealous person, right? And every now and then, here and there, you look, jealous of the new car driving down the street, jealous of this, that, or the other thing. Okay, so if your usual way, your ordinary is acting with jealousy, so then step into your jealousy. You got to go into that darkness and then take the act of shining the light to be happy for those people with what they've got that you were just jealous of. Take the action. Share the light. Take some light that's in your soul, transcend your jealousy, shine it out. I'm happy that they have good because I know the Creator gave me 100% and I want to create a vessel, and I'm doing it now by sharing the light, not just kind of thinking. I'm truly sharing the light. And maybe if there are people I can actually reach out to, tell them, I'm happy you got. Congratulations on your victory. Congratulations on your wedding. Congratulations on the new relationship. Congratulations on the new job, the new car, whatever it is. Now you've created a vessel that in your level is extraordinary. Because your ordinary was jealous. Now you're going to be happy for people's good. And along the way, what about being grateful? Step into your jealousy, which means you're not grateful for what you've got already and what the Creator's given you the ability to have, and start being more grateful. Express gratitude. I'm grateful for what I have. Let me shine that light of gratitude. Like we all know, when you're happy, you radiate light. So the more grateful you be, more light you radiate. Now you're also impacting other people. If your usual way of action is blaming other people for what's happened to you, how your life is, for all those kinds of things, no. Step into the blame. Now do the action with the light of taking responsibility for your life as it is and for your future by the actions you're going to do. So no longer going to blame them. For me, I don't know if any of you are under 35 and there's a more modern example, please email me, Facebook me, but this is the example I remember. If life throws you a lemon, make lemonade. But again, what I thought about since I'm in the center that most people won't say or think about, so somebody throws a lemon at you. The saying is, make lemonade, okay? Make lemonade, make a few dollars on it. But the other opportunity that, in this case, blame. Boom, they get hit. Why me? Why are they doing it? They're so nasty. Da-da-da-da. Okay, so you sit there. You've got the lemon that could bring you a few dollars if you made lemonade. But meanwhile, what you do is just blaming. Why me? Even the victim. Blaming victim. Why me? Why'd they do it to me? Like this. Those are the choices, right? No. So, wake up. Yes, you've been blaming them. Wake up right now. I'm going to step into the darkness of that blame and that victimization, and I'm going to start, I'm sorry that I'm sending you that blame, and I forgive you for what you did. I'm taking responsibility because we all know the law of cause and effect. Does cause and effect only work when it's good? Okay, I'm going to envision $1 million cash, and there it shows up. Or I'm going to envision my diamond ring, and then it's going to show up. No, what about when the channel, when they want to sell the books and the videos? No, just envision your dream house and it shows up. Yeah, but they forgot to tell you that the dream house on the outside has a foundation that's cracked and crumbling. So it looks great on the outside and you got it. But what about when the bad stuff comes along? No, that they don't tell you about because you want to think that way. Only the crazy Kabbalah Center will teach you that. Because then when there's the garbage to gold. You know how to turn the chaos to harmony and order. Because, hello, which person today on earth doesn't have some challenge? Some difficulty. It doesn't have to be major and painful and or like that, but we all have it. So if nobody's teaching you how to step in the darkness and turn on the light, so then you only got the half glass, the half full. But the other part that's dark, the quote empty, is the other 50% of your fulfillment, happiness, joy, great relationships, health, protection, peace, prosperity. So then a person can only live 50% if they're only seeing and acting in the half full. We learn how to step into the half empty, uncover what's really hiding there. If your usual way of action is insecurity, I'm not so good, what's going to happen to me? I'm not that great, I don't have this talent and ability, and no, like that. That's the ordinary. A miracle is when you act extraordinary. Step into it. Step into it and start acting with trust in the light. No, I know the light is my source. Because I see a lot of people out there who look like they've done all the physical things for success, but I see now what happened. They lost it, it falls apart, they're not happy, they're addicted to substances, they're ruining their life, etc. But they got all the trappings on the outside. No, so I want to trust in the light, keep channeling the light. Kindness, love, compassion, generosity, tolerance, whatever it may be. And you can go right and list. If a person's stingy, it's because why? Or they just feel lack, don't have enough to give. Tithing. The only truly spiritual obligation, and I will say it to you because we're students of the Kabbalah Center. Spiritual obligation, giving 10% of whatever comes to you. You make $2,000 a week, you are obligated to give 200 away. Where you want to give it, up to you. Obviously, my preference is the Kabbalah Center, because we're touching the heart and soul of every person on earth. It's not about the Jews, Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, black, white, yellow, brown, Democrat, Republican, Chinese, American, European. No, it's about humanity, the soul. But you must give it away, because if it's not given away, it gets taken away. It's that simple. Whatever part of the 10% a person doesn't give gets lost in a car, fender bender, food that rots, parking tickets, things that they have to pay money for with no blessing, really. That's where the difference of the 10% goes. So you're better off giving it, because when you give it with certainty in the light, that's why every book on prosperity, any spiritual book, and even now the life coaching books, first rule, you must tithe, because it's a cosmic law. It's not anything that the Kabbalists, suddenly made up. It's cosmic law. So then by acting generous, it's extraordinary, right? It's beyond the ordinary. If a person has hurt as their ordinary action, everything hurts them. This person hurt them, whatever it may be, right? Extraordinary. No, forgive. And you want to go that extra step, apologize. If somebody, and I know this is one of the toughest, so if you want to meet me or you have a Kabbalah teacher, meet with your teacher and discuss it, because I know I may push a few buttons, but anything that happens to us, anything that a person does that may hurt our feelings or whatever it may be, we have to understand it's all cause and effect. Maybe it's a past life. You may be a nice person in this lifetime, but somewhere, somehow, you did something similar to someone and they're giving you an opportunity to pay it back. So when they pay it back, again, it's no excuse for their side. But again, we want to take responsibility. So what do? Act like the light. The highest, apologize. I'm sorry, whatever I may have done that hurt you or caused you pain. You're shining miraculous energy. Now you've created a miracle, and then when you walk away from that situation, you walk away as a greater miracle maker. You're already an extraordinary super you, whatever you are, super you, like a superhero. You walk away and all the rest of your life is filled with those miracle energies. Because it's not just about that situation. So we want to start stepping into our darkness, acting like the light, because that's the extraordinary. That's the miracle maker. So I'll tell you a quick story as we finish. It's one of my favorite stories, and I thought I'd use it in this particular way. So the Baal Shem Tov, if you know the name, look him up, he was in the lineage actually of the center, great Kabbalist, and he brought happiness to spiritual transformation. Because even the people who said they were learning Kabbalah at that time, it was all about like beating the body, like put rocks in the shoes, don't eat all week, because they thought that if they torment the body, then the soul will express. And the Baal Shem Tov came along, obviously divinely guided, said, look, no, God is happiness. So if a person beating himself up that way, it just makes them miserable. So he would go out and he would show people how happiness and joy is how you really create an affinity with the light of God. So the story goes, and there are many stories like this, that he'd receive a message and then he'd get in his carriage with some of his students and they go off, to see what was going on. And so many of them were simple people, like this one I'm about to tell you. Like we said in the beginning, it's not, okay, the Baal Shem Tov had developed himself, he was way out there, he could take travels into the upper worlds. We can't do that. No, so only he can make a miracle. No. So here he goes out and he takes his students out to like a big field where, this one shepherd is shepherding his flock. And they're watching from a little distance. And the shepherd, after he settles his flock and he's resting, he looks up to the heavens. He says, God, I thank you for everything you do for me. It's so amazing. I know I can never repay you. I don't know all these things, how to pray and this and this and this, but I do know how to dance. So he starts dancing, like with all of his heart and soul, just dancing to like make God happy. You follow? Like metaphor like that, till he's exhausted. And then he rests a little while, and the Baal Shem Tov and his students are watching. And then he gets up again. He says, God, really, I don't know any way to give you thanks. You do so much for me. And this is a simple shepherd. He says, but I can play the flute. So he takes his flute, he starts to play, and he's just, again, with all his heart, you can just feel almost the divinity of what he's playing until he's exhausted. They watch again, and then a little while later he wakes up, he says, God, I know even what I've done is not enough for all that you do for me, and this and that. He says, he pulls out of his pocket, he says, I only have this one coin, but it's everything I've got, and I want to give it to you. So he throws it up in the air. Here, God. And the Baal Shem Tov and his students see like a hand coming out of heaven and catch the coin and take it up. So they understand this is a miracle maker out of his simple joy and his true craving to be connected to the light of the Creator. So when we decide that miracles are what we want to have, then we have to, one, build the desire, a craving, so that we'll be willing to step into our darkness and go beyond our nature. Share beyond yesterday's limit. If yesterday you shared double than you ever have before, so today share double again. You'll get more. What's the issue? What's the issue? We invest in all kinds of things, right? Our time and our money, our talents, in order to get some reward. Why not invest in the light? Our time, our talents, our money, our ability, etc. As you open your heart, and this for me has become a more clear key in these last few years. When you open your heart to shine your light on those that didn't treat you well, or the people you see in the world who are not treating others, the people where you had some hurt, you had some resentment, you had blame, something towards them, then you, if you're shining light on them, if you're offering them forgiveness and apology, then you're causing the hand of God to come down, reach into their heart, give their heart spiritual CPR, awakening the heart that has been cold, closed, hurt, broken, which is why they behaved the way they did. You'll wake up the light inside them of the kindness, the forgiveness, the compassion, and the love towards all human beings in the same way that you just opened up your heart. God bless. Thank you. Okay. So as we do every Sunday, and again, I want to appreciate all that you do. I know many of you are consistent donors to the center and to Spiritual Sunday, and this is why we always take this moment. I think I mentioned to you last week, till the end of the year, all your donations are matched by some very generous donors. So I would ask of you, push yourself a little more, right? Our mission, like we said, remove pain and suffering from the entire world, not just from the students of the center. We also want to bring more people. What will happen if more people are learning this? So the gifts, the donations that you make come to empower the Zohar Project, to just support Spiritual Sunday, we can keep going here, and the Karen Berg Scholarship Fund, that we can allow people who can't afford at this moment to take the classes that they crave to take because they've seen other people, like we talked today, who created miracles, done good things, and they want to be able to do the same. So let's just, if you're online, I have put the link to be able to give online. And if you're here, just hold your gift in your hands. And we just want to inject it with our love, our gratitude, our appreciation to the Creator for all the good that He's given us, for our talents and abilities, for even the inspiration and the guidance through the darkness, through the challenges. We appreciate the fact that even at the barest minimum, we've been able to survive through these challenges over the years. And now, by sharing with others and opening our heart to feel their pain and to feel their heart that's waiting to wake up, that we can bring the hand of God down upon their heart to awaken it, to help them feel also blessed. That this gift is going out to literally bring awakening, peace, harmony, and unity among the 8 billion people on the planet who are simply 8 billion parts, pieces to the totality we call the heart of God. And together we say, Amen. Amen. Okay, good. All right, so we do every week. This is one of the 72 names. Let me put it up here for you all. There we go. For those of you unfamiliar, the Hebrew letters are not a construct of humanity. They are primordial. They come from the endless world. They literally are portals of the light of the Creator. So they shine. Bless you. See, it's true. They shine the endless light. We know eyes are the window to the soul. So just by letting the shapes and the light that shines through them into the eyes, it's creating awakening in us. The names are Samech, Yud, Tet. It creates miracles. So as we said today, it's awakening the light to give us strength to step into our darkness with the light that's inside of us. Turn it on, illuminate the darkness, remove the darkness, and uncover the blessings and the miracles, the extraordinary things that you want back in your life. Okay, so just let the shapes be engraved in your mind's eye. The names, Samech, Yud, Tet. Okay, and if I can ask you now, just sit comfortably in the chair, wherever you're sitting. Feet flat on the floor, hands comfortably in your lap. Taking a few deep breaths, breathing in through the nose, hold the breath for a moment, and exhale through the mouth. And as best you can, breathing deep into the abdomen. Just allowing yourself to relax, feeling the breath of life and the light contained in the breath as it flows through you. Drawing it in as you inhale. Let it circulate through you, head to toe, body and soul. And then exhale all the illusion, all of the stress, anything blocking the light as you exhale. And now envision this powerful combination, Samech, Yud, Tet, from the 72 names of God. See them just above your head. Envision the beam of light that connects them to the endless world. See them as portals that are radiating, pulsing with the light of miracles. And now bring it through the top of your head and let this power, Samech, Yud, Tet, clear out the cobwebs in your brain, in your mind, the thoughts of that opponent, that parasitic energy of limitations, doubt, fears, worries. Samech Yud Tet, dispelling that darkness. That the mind is open to the light in your soul and the unlimited possibilities, which are miracles. And now let that energy, Samech Yud Tet, flow through your neck, through all the parts of your body and soul, from head to toe, dispelling the blockages, the limitations, the ordinary, the usual, and allowing the revelation of the extraordinary. Feel your whole being vibrating with this energy of miracle making. And let the energy light forces of Samach Yud Tet settle in your heart. Allow this power to break whatever hurt, blockages, whatever darkness you've allowed to settle there up to this point. Let this miraculous energy, Samach Yud Tet, break those prison walls, break those curtains that you've held, maybe even for lifetimes. Broken heart, hurt, anything but the true light of unconditional love. Feel the warmth. Feel the Creator sending you this unconditional love. Feel the heart warming up. And a beam of that unconditional love and that new awakening extending to your mind, that the heart and the mind are in unity with love, transcendent, extraordinary, truly miraculous desire to share unconditional love with all human beings. And see that beam of light, Samach Yud Tet, making miracles extend from you to the heart of every person on earth. Feel that enhanced power that returns to you as you tap into the soul's energy in the heart of every person on earth. Accept the idea you are truly a miracle maker. The Creator has given each of us that power. And commit yourself now to move forward, making miracles. Strength to step into your darkness, turn on the light in every way, shape, or form in your life. We set the example of certainty in the light of the Creator and the power of the miracles that infinite light does create. Allow this, the new feeling, vibration, thoughts, to be engraved in your mind, your heart, and your soul. Taking one more deep breath, solidifying it inside you, and then exhale as you slowly open your eyes. Okay. Thank you for joining us, those of you here, those of you online. Please remember, this video stays on the Facebook page. Just send it out there, whatever, share it with everybody who you can. We also have the YouTube channel. So if people aren't on Facebook, you can send them to the Spiritual Sunday YouTube channel. They can benefit from this wisdom, and they can grow also and tell their friends. And pretty soon we'll have 8 billion people wanting to learn in the Kabbalah Center. Okay? Let me know your miracles. Also, if you would like to make a one-on-one meeting, that is possible. Just Facebook me or email me and let me know, and we can arrange that also. Okay? Have a great day, a great week, and God bless.